I can't solve all the problems with just high ticket. Like high ticket is great, but it's going to stop at a point. And for the sake of this series, I decided that I'm going to walk you through the next part. It's called leveraged dollars. I say that like that because this is a whole thing. This is not just something mild. This is not something you just kind of go, oh, what was that? I heard it. I'm going to take a note. No, you really need to sit in the center of it because leveraged income, leveraged revenue in your business is actually the thing that changes everything. And for me, there is a multitude of different ways in how we talk about leveraging, leverages, and the leverage game. So instead of having this conversation myself, I decided to bring in the one and only, the do the damn thing master himself, the one and only Matt mother flipping Gill in the street, who is going to walk through the leverage game. But the coolest thing is that he's going to give you stats, numbers, and the specific steps to the how. All right, this is going to be good.
Hey, you. Welcome to Build the Damn Thing, a place where myself, Tiffany Largy, and our amazing Do the Damn Thing coaches show you how to use your story to build it all. Whether it's your first 6 figures, your next layer of multiple 6 figures, or maybe you're on your way to $1 million. And if it's not that, it's the life of your dreams, where you are free, you are strong, and you are whole. First, we're going to show you how to use your story to build a strong foundation. And then next, we're going to show you how to use your story in sales and marketing to clean up the cracks. And last but not least, we're going to show you how to use your story to gather people. Because truth of the matter is that there's nothing stronger than being connected to people who just understand you as you are, where you are, so you can stop explaining yourself. I want to remind you that now that you're here, you are home, and I officially welcome you to our family. All right, let's get started.
Familia. Leverage income? Woo! Now, Matt Gill is here. Let me repeat this. The Matt Gill is here. Matt, we're in the middle of this kind of leveraged conversation. And even as you think of the things that we do here at DTDT, leveraged income, leveraged revenue, and leveraged thinking is the way that we have always resulted into after high ticket.
Right.
And the reason why is because I'm going to make it really simple. It's easier to say one thing and 20 people hear.
Yeah.
It's easier to sell one thing and 5 people say yes.
Right. It's like why people do group messages instead of sending one message at a time. Let me just put everybody in one group and then just, here we are.
Well, we have to be careful with those group messages because, I have a little bit of before we even say anything, I got a little bit of a left eye for people with group messages. Whenever they include me, especially when there's like one Android user.
Oh, yeah.
And it just changes.
You see the one person with the green, you're like, who's green?
Who's green? And you're like, I'm out. And then Elbert got a aunt who sends a text message every morning. I don't know if she still does, but for the first 6 years, it's a Bible verse. Uh-huh. You got one too? Isaiah's got one too. 5:15 in the morning. Do not play.
Oh,
but I don't want you to think it's just like the verse. Right. It's the verse, the meaning. Right? The verse, the greenie, the meaning, the greening.
The green. It comes in the green. Yep.
The meaning behind it and all the pieces. And she sends it to everybody. And then she feels away, when people leave or you're like, I'm not included anymore. But the truth is that she takes 10 minutes in the morning and she is planting a seed for her 20 people in her family that she feels most connected to. Mm-hmm. And she can totally say at the end of the day, don't say I didn't do nothing for you.
Right. She's like, I blessed you in the morning. What you talking about?
I blessed you. Yeah, for sure. So I wanted to get inside of this raw conversation. So we don't have any notes here. This is not structured. I'm going to ask Matt some questions. And I actually pulled him from a project that he was doing. So this is one of those things that you take the notes, you come back and ask Matt the questions. Because in addition to just talking about it, Matt's lived it. And I thought it'd be really cool to just go back to the basics in thinking of how do you create a leveraged opportunity in front of you. We just finished talking about what a high ticket offer is.
Got it.
How we high ticket here. And I gave an overview. If you have any additional questions around high ticket, please, wherever you're seeing this, just ask a question. Shoot us an email. Shoot me an email, tiffany@tiffanylargy.com. And we're more than happy to answer the question. But high ticket is where we play.
Right.
And we're just talking about this yesterday and the day before. We really enjoy fulfilling high ticket. Before we get into leverage, can you just give like 3-4 words why we like to fulfill high ticket?
One high ticket. There's a deeper investment on the person who we're creating for.
Yep.
They're more invested in the project. Like they're
more invested in the project.
Like they really want the outcome. They're in the, okay, great, let's make this happen. And they're more willing because they put more investment and dollars. They have more skin in the game. So they are more likely to participate, to be part of the process, and to show up and do the work.
Show up, isn't that funny? It's the exact same thing I said in the last episode. I feel like it's verbatim. They show up and they do the work. They're willing to do the work. But it's not that they're just willing to do the work. I think the other side of it is me being on the outside and watching this amazing production team produce cool, dope-ass things for people. They take pride in their work.
I think in every team member, as they look at what they're doing, like they take pride in what they're creating.
Yep.
And they also really have a hunger and desire to know what's going to be, like, where is this going? What are we building?
Yes.
And you often hear a lot of us asking, what are we building? What are we doing? Like, what is this going to be used for? And it's an opportunity for them to be creative in their space and say, hey, why don't we do this? And why don't we bring in this? And it's those high ticket offers that allows for more creativity.
That's it right there.
And more opportunity for us to think outside of the box. And okay, great. Let's just not shoot right here in these 4 walls. Like there's a whole world out there.
Yeah, literally.
And when we have more dollars, we can be more creative and we can do more things to help their impact.
And you can serve the person at a higher level.
Yes.
That's really what Matt's saying. And I think that that's the thing of it. You know, we have the high ticket offer. We account for, sure, the deliverables and things, kind of like how I said to you, the $175 an hour times 52 sessions is X, or 26 sessions. That's good. But I want you to go back to that episode and hear me also insert, there are so many things that we do that we're not contracted for, that require time and labor and effort and money and resources. And I don't mean like we get you a cup of coffee, you know, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like showing up to the client's hotel room at 10:58 at night to help them brainstorm the additional thing. I'm talking about taking clients to the zoo so that they can be in a creative place to create. The truth is that high ticket allows you to be at your best self.
Right.
And when I feel like, before I get into leverage dollars, because leverage is important, but for me, the foundation is not always built on leverage, lower ticketed items. Higher ticketed items, I feel like when you're trying to like restart the lawnmower kind of a thing, it gets everybody into a place where they feel good.
Yeah.
Because they're doing work that feels good. So they get into a cycle. You get into a cycle where you're like, okay, I don't know about all the other things in this life, but I'm doing a thing right now that feels good, and it feels good.
Yeah.
And it allows you to kind of get with the program, you know?
And I think it also allows for people to, for lack of a better word, I guess, kind of fall into place. Like people know this is my role. And they get to own that, and they really get to build from that space. Whereas there's so much movement or unanswered questions sometimes with lower dollar. Like, you know, is this person even participating? Are they even watching the videos? Like, you know, is the work that we're putting out there, is it even really truly being consumed by the people who invest in it? Like,
isn't that the truth?
You hear of so many people who buy yet another program and then
course.
They never log in. They never log into that. And then they ask a bunch of questions. You're like, you have access to these answers and you're not using it. Somebody with a higher ticket is more, as we've said, more invested.
Yep. They're more invested. They're going to do more of the work. But for us, it feels better.
Yeah.
That's it. So like for me, even as I think about building and saying and doing some things, like it just, you want to feel good as you're doing the work. That's the bottom line. So let me get into this leveraged income. So after active income, so the first type of the first type of dollars that we talked about were, they were active income. That means we're actively doing something. That's typically what a high ticket offer it is. You're actively doing something, you do the thing, and then you get paid for it.
Right.
Okay. The next type of income that's really overlooked, because most people go to passive income. And passive income is good, but passive income is a long-term play.
Right.
Okay. So like even for us right now, after the active income is stabilized, active income is what I'm going to use to pay for like overhead. It's what I use to pay for like base things in a company. Mm-hmm. When I know that, okay, great, we got to pay XYZ people more money. Or, okay, I need to invest in another camera. Or like, not like luxury things. I'm not talking about a trip.
Right.
I'm talking about like the parts of scaling. Whenever I see
part of the operation.
Yes. I know that I'm busting at the seams. My next place I'm going to go to is leverage income. And sometimes I'm going to go there even whether or not the company's ready for it. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes we think like, oh, the company needs this, that, and the other to be ready. But most of the time you already have all the things you need. Leverage income is nothing more than doing something once and being paid for it over and over again.
Right.
Right. But I'm going to change the language for the sake of this conversation with Matt on doing something once and then converting over and over again. So Matt, a couple of years ago, when Matt was a client, he was part of this really cool mastermind called Relentless. I think I'm going to call the mastermind Relentless again.
I love that name.
Okay.
He
got choked up about this. This was so emotional. My gosh, man.
Being somebody that was part of Relentless, like just the name.
He's crying right now. You can't see it.
I got a tear right there.
Like, you know what?
I got my to cover my tear tattoo.
You know what? I knew that was coming. I knew the hood and you could not wait. Okay. So in this space in Relentless, there was just moment where I said to Matt, hey, Matt, let's do a thing.
Right.
You know, Matt was not learning because Matt's the expert. So he's not necessarily learning from me. But he definitely was going, okay, I can see how I can apply this concept that I know, which is I'm going to gather people. So the idea first is we gather people, we communicate with people, though that gathering, and then we do a thing.
Right.
Okay, that's the essence of it. Instead of turning that into revenue up front, Matt decided that he was going to take the webinar, masterclass, teaching route. He gathered people into a teaching or an experience.
Correct.
And then?
And then offered. So what I had done is, and this model that you introduced, I was like, okay, I could see it working. It was a longer, like a 30-day plan, which made sense. And it was actually really fun to put together. So about a week before I actually talked about a free webinar, a free masterclass is what I called it.
Yeah.
I did a week of just dropping content, little short 30 to 60 second. I called engagement tips.
Yep.
Because the masterclass was called Engagement with Impact. And so I gave engagement tips, small little things that you can do all week long. And then I told them at the end of the week, I'm going to give you an invitation. So for a week, I had built up to me just announcing the masterclass.
Yep.
So I started just dropping little nuggets. Hey, do this. And so people were already getting results.
Sorry, not to cut you off, but where were you when you were like dropping? Where were you dropping this?
It was actually on Facebook, and I would do a real quick Facebook video. It was usually when I was on my walks outside somewhere.
Look at that.
Just grabbing my phone and just pulling out and to be like, okay, engagement tip number 2. You should be, and then that's it. Like literally 60 seconds. And then on Friday, I made the announcement for the masterclass.
So you started Monday?
Correct.
Got it.
Yep. And
morning or night? Sorry.
So I did mine.
I feel like it was the morning.
It was the morning. It was like at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's right, because I was up in the hills.
Yeah.
I remember. That's right. I had gotten 88 people to register the night before, and I was super excited because I wasn't expecting
Matt
that.
was so excited. He was so excited. I want everybody to know Matt was so excited.
He was
like, hey, Tiffany, I got the da-da-da-da. I'm ready. This thing's happening tomorrow. But Matt was like, pop champagne. So you get excited. I want you to think he was like, hey.
I had backup dancers.
Literally.
I had backup dancers already behind me.
He's like walking in the streets like, did that, And I was like, Matt, you ain't shit.
And then
you're supposed to get to 100.
Tiffany turns on all of the club lights, like when you're at like the last call and you're like dancing, you feel good and feel sexy. And then all of a sudden the lights come on, you see what you look like. That was Tiffany. It was like, she's like, wait, you're not at 100? Yeah, right. Yes. And you're like, whoa. Yes. And I was like, or it's that kid when you're like enjoying your balloon and you're holding your air balloon up and they're like, and you're like, look how it's floating. And then that kid comes by and pops your balloon.
That's exactly.
That was Tiffany. She's like, my balloon's all.
I was like, Matt, you got to 88. So you're supposed to get to 100. You're not done.
Right. And this, mind you, was like at 10 o'clock at night.
Matt was so like
pissed. I was pissed off.
There was so much silence on the other end. And I was like, Matt, listen, you ain't shit. You said you were going to get to 188 ain't shit. Matt, you have 24 hours left. And he was like, it is 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night. I was like, I don't care. And I was like, the internet is open through the night. And then he was like.
And so Matt got it at his phone.
He did.
Like, this little hefty.
He did. He was there like, just like this. I wish you could visualize Matt, not responding, saying bad words under his breath, and then also showed you. He was in his mind. No, he was like, Sarah only got 52. Why is she talking about this 88? She should be grateful I got 88.
I was a little tip, but then I was also very determined.
And then he was like, I'm Matt Gill. Right. I don't need to get 100. He was. You don't understand. This guy, that phone call ended with, okay, good night, goodbye. Click. Like, okay, good night, goodbye. Click. I was like,
I'm done.
He was like, I'm finished. Like the conversation's over.
I didn't even say I'm complete. I was just like, done.
He was like, I'm done. He hangs up the phone.
But I was happy to report that by 9 o'clock the next morning,
the people.
I had 103 people.
Tell the people. Yeah. This is the whole thing.
Yeah. So it was exciting. I was nervous as heck. One, just technology. And there was a template that you had given me, and I had stayed up till like 5 a.m. adjusting it, making it feel like me with my verbiage and the flow and practicing. And at 9:30 in the morning is when I sat and prepared and just said, all right, God, like just clear my mind, prepare my heart, and use me as your vessel. And logged in out of 108 people that were, or 103 people that had registered, 49 showed up.
Yes. Do you hear this?
So I was super excited, which then made me more nervous. But just in following the model and actually having fun teaching and sharing this, at the very end, out of the 49, 47 stayed till the very end. And I had told them up front, I had said, hey, at the very end of this, I'm going to make you guys an opportunity to work with me a little bit closer. And so 47 people got to hear the offer.
That's a pretty big deal. I really want everyone to hear this. So before he even finishes these, I'm going to ask him about numbers next. I want to break this apart because there's a couple of different points of leverage here. One, he went to the internet.
Right.
He didn't try to go to his own list. I mean, not saying that it wasn't valuable, but he just went to the internet. Facebook is already gathering the list for him, spending all the money. He just went on there and went, hey. He went to where traffic was, said, I'm doing a thing over here. And if you would like to come over here and see what I'm doing, come on over. Now, the truth of this matter is that Matt used a formula and a template. That template exists in DTDTU right now. It's inside of our communities. But the essence, flavor, when he decided to go to where the traffic was. So step number one, you got to figure out where is the traffic. You could get complicated and say it's on a billboard. I'm going to go in my city. But honestly, everybody has access to the internet now. Again. It's 8 billion people out there on this planet. Like this, when I started talking about this statistic 5-7 years ago, I would say it, but I feel now in my life, as removed from the internet as I am at this season for myself, I'm really like, guys, you have access to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, because and not to go too far off, but this, as I rebuild things and build new things, the reality is that 20 years ago, it was impossible for me to produce the type of results I can produce today. Like, I can sit in a chair and make $10,000.
Right.
You know, or even make $4,000. I can make $1,000 sitting in a chair with a device in my hand. I know this sounds crazy to everybody, but I would sweat and blister in the streets of Miami to come up with $2,000-$3,000 for the month. You know, like I lived that.
There's a lot of careers and things that exist now that weren't around when we were like, they would have never taught us in school. You know, I just heard on the news that they were going to be offering cannabis classes on how to seed and in college. Like, that's an actual course so that you
Is this for real?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, wow, like, all right, now you get to be a different type of farmer. That didn't exist at that.
You get to be a different type of farmer. Oh, hold on. Let's just have a moment of silence for what? Yeah, let's just pause for a second.
Listen, you're still a farmer in the horticulture
What?
space.
Are we? Wait. Horticulturing? We're using these words?
I know big words.
Oh my gosh.
I did my chat GTP
Oh my
today. I did. Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Like, there's opportunities that didn't, we used to say, don't be playing video games for so long. And now look at the careers in video games. Like, yeah, there's opportunity that didn't exist when we were growing up. And so you really can't say that you don't have the opportunity. It's not even opportunity.
It's possibilities.
Yeah.
It's opportunity and possibilities. You imagine that when we were playing Frogger, that we could have been paid, like people were going to make money with that.
Millions.
It's insane to think.
Frogger,
I just did that. I aged all of us. Frogger. Like, you're right. And even as Matt's talking, I'm thinking to myself, even now, like, how complicated people make things. And I'm going to get back to this leverage thing. And I'm not talking about getting to $1 million. I'm just talking about, like, saving yourself. Like, saving yourself and not drowning and not going without.
Right.
Like, if you live in the United States or a first world country and you're still going without and you have access, like, you don't live in I don't even know where BFE is anymore in this country. But every state has a library. Every state has library card. Every state has access to the internet, respectively. AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, and T-Mobile provide services throughout the U.S.
Right.
Every time that I'm in L.A. and I'm driving by, like, I'm on Ventura and I see, like, the homeless guy who's literally sitting.
Right.
Albert, literally. Albert told me that the other day he saw an Amazon box pull up to his tent. Take a moment. Take a moment. No, everybody take a moment. I was like, the truth is that there's so much possibility and opportunity that anything other than the minimum for me is an excuse. I watch Matt, who doesn't really care for sales, he respects sales and knows how to do them. And Matt's brilliant. But his heart is not in sales. His heart is not in those things. But I watched him take a formula and apply it. He got to 100, halfway because he was pissed off, but halfway because he just went to the internet and did what he does best. He didn't curate anything specific. Then he got on this really cool training. 47 people got on. Do you know what it is for 47 people to stay live?
Yeah.
That's a pretty big deal. The industry standard is 33%, which means out of the 100, only 33 people should have been there live. Matt was at 47 people, and one of the people, like, let's just say 2 of the people registered twice. So probably Matt was like at 50%. That's huge. But the greatest part about it is that he just went on and did what he did best.
Yeah.
The thing, before I ask him about numbers, the thing I want to highlight, think about leverage income is gathering the people and teaching on a micro topic.
Right.
Okay. Everybody wants to teach on a macro topic. Matt taught on a micro topic inside of his knowledge and expertise.
Right.
It is the easiest way to gather people, show off what you know, and then to say, hey, would you like to come and hang out with me a little bit closer?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Matt about what his numbers were and what happened afterwards, because I really want you to know that everybody can do this right now. And even if you didn't have a registration page, if you used a tool like Zoom.us, Zoom has on the webinar feature, which is $40 a month, they have the ability for you to create a landing page. So you don't have to create one that's super sexy. Let's say you're like, Tiffany, I don't have the $40. Okay, great. You have an email address.
Right.
Just be like, hey, on Friday night, I'm going to be teaching this, that, and the other. And you can email me your email address and I'm going to send it to you. Because I can't tell you, people don't know this, but I would say 30% of the invites that we send are not automated.
Right.
When even for programs and products, there was many seasons where we just couldn't be bothered with it. It's the truth.
Right.
And we would get down and dirty inside of Google. Just add everybody's email and send it on off.
BCC to everybody.
BCC. You know, I saw someone the other day do something that I want to try. I think we're actually going to do here. Stay with me. This guy out of Florida took a list, like a 2,000 people list of the avatar who would be great for an in-person event. He did this to me 3 times. An in-person event on like a 3-day event or a masterclass. And he created an event. Instead of doing emails, he just added all 2,000 names to the invite.
Oh, wow.
And it put it on their calendar.
Wow.
Did it to me 3 times. And I was like, this is brilliant. And I was like, it works. So you open the thing up, title, how to log in, all the description in a Google invite. I want you to be clear, like his Google to my Google.
Wow.
It was brilliant. And I thought to myself, this is just like our drop game in the streets with the iPhone. Listen, don't play.
It's a great idea.
I'm coming for that thing. And I was like, you know, man, here it is. Even for myself, this was this year. I'd never seen anyone do that like that before because I saw all 2,000 names. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not like it's hypothetical. And I was thinking to myself, and I don't know the person. I've not opted in. So he has my contact from...
That's like guerrilla marketing.
That's guerrilla marketing. And the reality, and something, I thought about it this morning as I've been thinking about what are the outside things, tactical? Because tactics work.
Right.
Matt gets on Facebook for 5 days. He tells these people he's going to be teaching something random about engagement. And then he don't even make him promises. It's not like he says your engagement's going to net you $2 trillion.
Right.
He just says, I'm going to teach you about engagement because you're lacking and you could do better, period.
Yeah.
They get on 47 people. What happens next, Matt?
So at the end of the offer, I invited people to an actual workshop with me to spend 3 hours and deep dive into their content and really practice what I gave highlights to during the free masterclass. Out of the 47 people that listened in,
Listen to this.
18 people purchased at $297. So
to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, $297 at 18. That's like
I think it was like close to
carry
30.
the one.
It was total. So I had 18 people that had invested at $297, which
Let me do some math because I
it's
can't.
like 34 or something
I can't
like
do
that.
it. Oh, my phone died. Of course.
Oh,
Yeah.
here. I've got
I want to know exactly how much this was. I want everybody to feel and touch this, if we can. Por favor.
Yes, and yes.
So $297. So think about this. 18 of these people, that the industry standard is about 20%. Matt's like balling at about 40% of this number.
So that's $5,300.
$5,346. And then what? So everybody, in its all truthfulness, everybody can pay a couple of bills with $5,346. Matt could have stopped there. What comes next?
So I offered it at $297. The regular investment was $497. So I said, for those of you guys that are participating in the masterclass, you get the $297 if you purchase within the next 24 hours. Then I went to the market and said, hey, you missed the masterclass, but you can still be part of the workshop. And I had, I think it was 2 people that invested at $497.
Only 2 people. You don't need 35.
It was 4 people.
4 people at $497 is $500. That's $2,000.
So at that point, I had $7,100 and I think $40.
You hearing this? This is so good.
And then at the
Keep
workshop,
going, Matt. And there's more.
And there's more. Out of the 20 people who were there, I had 2 people take me up for one-on-one coaching, which was 6 weeks of just working with them once a week for 6 weeks. So at total out of that entire experience, it was $11,134.
$11,134. 134.
That, which is why I tripped out when I saw the number. Those are my numbers.
Oh man.
Yep. It was a good month. And especially during the pandemic, at the time where, I never left my living room except to go to the bathroom.
30 day. Did you know what? 30 days. I just needed facts. So 30 days. Okay. This is beginning to end. You talk about turning your cash around and doing something. And can you do this every month? No. Right? So you think, but the truth is you could. You could start on August 1st, September 1st, October 1st. It's the truth. Sometimes I wonder why we haven't done something like that here. I mean, I've done many webinars and master classes, but all the stuff we do is complicated. And every time I turn around, I'm always mystified by the reality of simply gathering people, talking to them. And Matt's in his living room. There's no beautiful scenery behind it. Matt used to have this elongated hot house.
Yes.
You could tell that he was hot in that house.
It was sweaty. It was a beautiful, beautiful ceiling, but all wood, no insulation.
These tank tops.
Yes.
See, I don't know. He would wear these tank tops all the time. And then when he wasn't wearing the tank tops, he'd be there hot and you would see his cool things. But he did it. That's my point. He didn't have a studio. He didn't need a studio. And you really don't need anything either.
Had one Yeti mic and my webcam.
Matt, what do you feel like, before we get out of here, what do you feel like is the greatest lesson you learned just about the human spirit and doing that and taking, trying something and seeing it through?
I think for me, it became fun to watch how people engaged with it. They almost, as the week built leading up to the offer, seeing their excitement and watching them engage with, what's today? And then how they were using it. And then after the class, even during the class, I had an exercise that I wanted them to do and test while they were doing the workshop or the master class, hearing the results of people. I think I know people want to be seen and want to feel like they're part of something. And so when you create an experience where they get to be a part of it and they're getting results in their own life, it's a win. One, you're establishing yourself as the expert, as the teacher, as the person to go to, but you're also watching the person win. And to me, that's one of the biggest things that I value the most for any of our clients. We want you to win. And how do we make that win bigger, sooner, quicker, faster? And to see people taking big leaps and showing up on camera. I think that was actually the biggest thing that I took from there was I pushed people to get in front of a camera and to show up. And to see more people doing video or getting a message like, oh my God, I can't believe. We have some people in our community who, prior to being here, never showed up on camera.
Had never been on a camera before.
And now one of them has her own radio station and does her own stuff. It's just amazing to see people grow and win.
Yay! The leverage conversation. I don't even think we can add anything else to it. You've heard about high ticket, but now you understand that there's a really important place for leverage income. Let me tell you what it does. It stabilizes the foundation. So active income shoots in and it comes in moments and sporadic. But Matt said he worked with X amount of people for 6 weeks. So for 6 weeks, in theory, he could technically have charged them a small portion every week for 6 weeks and stabilize his world for 6 weeks. I want you to stabilize your world. I want you to be consistent and have the confidence to eat it all. But leverage income plays an important role. I can't wait to hear what your notes are in this. I can't wait to hear if you're going to try a webinar or masterclass or something like that.
Don't try it. Just do it.
Just do it. If you haven't been to night school yet, this is probably one of those moments where you're like, I need to go deeper. www.dtdtnightschool. I totally have to tell you this right now. .com. It's probably happening right around the corner. And I guarantee that you'll take this concept to that week and change everything. We'll see you later.
I hope that episode was amazing for you and you are closer to building the damn thing. I can't wait to hear what your thoughts were, what part you loved, and the action that you're going to go take, because the truth of the matter is that the person who wins is not the person who gets there first. It's the person who takes action first. Now, I've got a gift for you, and it is at www.strappedhustle.com. It is imperative that you run there and you see all types of goodies, starting with the 7 must-haves that you've got to put when telling your story. There is so much deliciousness awaiting for you. I would love nothing more than for you to go ahead and give us a thumbs up and a 5-star review on not just this episode, but this entire series of How Do You Build the Damn Thing. Like always, if there's anything that we can do to make your week, day, or month better, please let us know. And more importantly, I can't wait to see you live. Whether it's at Do the Damn Thing Live or in one of our communities, or maybe you're just hanging out with us on social media. What I know to be true is that I am meant to connect with you somewhere, and I can't wait for that day to happen. And more importantly, I can't wait to see what you build.